Welcome to the last episode of 2025 that we are recording for the Car Dealership podcast. So I'm not sure if it will be launched in 25, but definitely in the beginning of 26. So the last episode is recorded with Bart Pellis, who has been one of our customers actually from a BMW dealer group in the Netherlands, who is now an independent consultant working for different dealer groups, but also NSCs. So it's very interesting to hear his thoughts about AI and also the work that we are doing together. So I hope you enjoy the episode and get some learnings about AI. Hello Bart, welcome to the Car Dealership podcast.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, with pleasure. So it's a Dutchman in Spain, but we'll talk about that later. Can you first start with explaining about yourself, your background, and the work you're currently doing across dealer groups and manufacturers?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Bart Pellis. As you said, I'm Dutch. I accidentally started working in the automotive industry after I first wanted to study at the art academy, but I was too young, and then I just started some creative study. So actually, I'm a creative. I'm not like. Don't ask me what all the techniques in a car are like, because I really don't have any clue. But I ended up there by a little bit by accident after I graduated and I did an internship. I got offered, and I started at a dealership south of Holland. That was about 15, 16 years ago. I worked in dealerships for different national sales companies. And in my last job, I ended up as managing director retail for advertising agency of PON, the import company of the Volkswagen Group in Holland. And from there on, my career as entrepreneur started, and started my own business. Did that for 4 or 5 years. And then after COVID, my then girlfriend, now wife, thinking, what else is there in life? So we decided to give up everything in Holland, moved to Sardinia, lived in Italy for 1.5 years. And after Italy, we moved to Spain in 24. So now I'm still working for the automotive industry for mostly Dutch companies, both import companies and dealerships, then from Spain.
But you mentioned to me, I've not seen it, but you mentioned that you live in a white mountain village on a hill with very bad reception.
Yeah. I'm happy that we can still have this contact.
Yeah, exactly.
If I can't show you, but through this window over here, you can see the snow on the mountains, and on this window there is the Mediterranean. So we live close to the area where you can go skiing in the morning and then have lunch at the beach and have swim.
Well, ideal. So whatever mood you're in, you can actually just choose.
Exactly. We haven't done, but it's a bucket list thing for my wife.
Yeah. Great. Sounds good. Now, I have at the end of my question list here that I've prepared. I've got a question, but you've answered the question a little bit already, because I remember the first time that I met you. It's how many years ago? It's some years ago. It was in Eindhoven, I believe, in the showroom of Story Next. And that how I remembered you from then is your style. You have always have a design glasses and design clothing. It's how I remember that first meeting that I thought, that's a stylish guy. And I also know you have the same stylish jacket and the glasses. But you mentioned you're into art. So is that's where it's coming from?
It's a little different. I I wanted to learn how to do sales, so I started selling suits.
Okay.
And I was during my studies, I was interested in the more traditional way of suiting and everything, and the same with my glasses. When I only wear one type of glasses, so like my idea,
Yeah.
if you would wear the same underwear every day, you would buy really expensive underwear. Well,
Yes.
I do that a
That's
little
what you
bit.
do with glasses.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
And there's
funny,
a second
funny.
thing
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I didn't want to look like the typical, I'm a marketer.
Yeah.
A marketing suit has a little different color, has a little different style than the traditional
Yeah.
automotive
You
suit.
need to stand out. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, but it's something that I noticed. It suits you well. So, but anyhow, you mentioned that you actually, when I met you, you were working at Story Next. That's part of the Pada Group. You also work for PON, and you still do work for PON and give workshops for them, which is also very big organizations. But if you look at those bigger organizations compared to individual dealers, how do they often underestimate or overlook things being an individual dealer?
That's quite a good question to start with. I think the thing most underestimated that I see through all the dealerships that I know is purpose leads to profit. And most dealer organizations are focused just on profit. I call it the virus of more, needed to sell more cars, more margin. More, it's always the same route. But if you're truly focused on your employees, they need something more nowadays than just selling more cars. They need some other reason to get out of bed just than making money. And that's why, in my opinion, the average time that a car salesman in Holland is staying in one function is about 37 months. And the average time that people buy a car in Holland is between 42 and 46 months, depending between private buyer or customer. So that means that if you're very lucky and you start your day as a salesman in the automotive industry, and on the very first day you meet a customer and you sell them a car, then you're lucky that you're seeing them on your very last day in your job to sell them the second one. So that's why it's very, very hard to create loyalty, have returning customers connected to on a personal level, building relationships on a deeper level, just than, I want to have my next Audi or I want to have my next BMW. I think way further than that. And I think that's really being, especially in times of AI, but that's something for later, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you look at where you operate, you don't just focus on marketing. You focus on different aspects of a car dealership, like marketing, operations, but also the strategy of a dealer group. So where is then the biggest structural tension today?
The biggest tension is the complexity of a ever faster growing holding of a company and its local dealerships. If I can give an example on marketing departments, in the last few years I spoke to a lot of dealerships, and through the years of buying other companies, growing as a dealership, the distance between the marketing department and the local dealership floor is immensely growing, where people don't really talk the same language anymore. Like lead generation has become the one and only goal for a marketing department. Like if a local dealership complains about their marketing policy, quite often the response of a marketing department is, yeah, I got you enough leads, just convert them into sales, and shut up. Lead management has become like the number one measure to show if your marketing department is doing well or not. And I think in times where the human connection is more and more important, also internally, way too narrow thinking.
Yeah, it's how it used to be. Just generate leads, and for the rest, that's what you need to do. But it's broader and it's more complex.
Exactly. You succeed as a marketer if you just create enough leads. Doesn't matter what the quality of the lead is, or it doesn't matter where it comes from. Just generate enough leads, and that's actually the same as how we educated like the salespeople. Just generate enough sales, and now for the marketers, just give me the numbers. And I feel that we need to broaden that horizon.
Absolutely. You talk about purpose. That what is the purpose of your job? I think having a purpose and getting out of bed in the morning to go after that purpose is very important. I fully agree. But and that just earning money is not the right purpose. But on the other hand, I think you also mentioned dealers are not making any money at the moment. So so you mentioned to me some weeks ago that what the average profit is of a dealer this year, and it's close to zero. What does that number really tell us?
That we are quite often far too short-sighted and mainly choosing the short-term vision over the long-term one, if we even have it. And let me explain a little about a theory that I quite often talk about, and it's very, very little discovery that I did a couple of years ago. It's so small that I can't even mention it as a discovery, but it's an insight that really worked for me. And it basically explains to me why some organizations are successful and others aren't. And what I did is if you look at sales funnel management, every sales funnel is, okay, how much reach do we have? What did it convert to traffic? How much traffic converted into lead, into offers and orders, right? But I literally flipped the sales funnel a little bit, and instead of designing it like this horizontal, I create like 3 different flows that every salesman, every company or every dealership basically only has 3 target groups. Number 1, the lead, the customer that comes through a lead. That's a simple one. That's exactly the one that sales funnel management in the digital age is built on. We can target a target group, we convert them into leads, and they will buy eventually. That's the first type of customer. And the second one is, it looks a little bit the same, but due to privacy or due to not really wanting to make the effort to have online contact first, you still target people online, but instead of becoming an online lead, they end up as someone that shows up in your showroom. We call it the walking group. And then the third group, that's obviously the ones that keep coming back to you, whether it is customers that are returning for their next buy or customers that are in your personal network and want to come back to you even though you switched through a dealer. I both call them the relationship group. And I do a very simple research into every company that I go to. What is the average percentage of each of these groups for you, for every individual? And my vision, and you can disagree with it or not, I believe in place every individual to where his success is being built. So if you have like a salesman who is very good in relationships, he probably isn't the best in quick follow-up of leads, and maybe doesn't always have the same eagerness as leads, because he already knows like, hey, I already have like 400, 500 people in my CRM. I know that's at least 100 I'm going to convert to a car. But there are also probably young people who don't have that network yet. So then give them the leads. So create space and time for the first guy to focus on his relationship, so that the second guy can start building onto his network through the first leads that he's getting. And then not every salesman, in my vision, does have to do like all of it, but they're focused as like a football team. We need like the defenders that are defending our CRM, that no one is going away. We need like the midfielders that are closing any gap on the field, for all the walk-ins in the showroom. And we need like the strikers who are in front, who are fully focused on making a goal or scoring through all the assists coming from marketing or coming through online. And I believe, and I designed this football team for every company that I go to see where which success come from. Now, having talked about this theory, to go back to your question, going for this continuous more and more and more sales, about 10 or 15 years ago, a lot of companies started to invest in online, which was really good, and it created like a lot of new opportunities. And now a lot of companies have become an internet company. They've become fully dependent on leads, dependent on big platforms, and dependent on other major parties in business. Which isn't bad, but obviously you don't build a relationship, and always the margins of the first group are always way smaller than to a relationship. So it's just focusing on the leads that created short-term vision, and marketing departments quite often don't look further than the end of the 31st of December, because then we hopefully got our goals, we got enough leads, and we got enough.
Okay, so very interesting, Bart. But if you look at that theory and your idea on that, the fact is that profitability, being profitable, is very difficult. But that means that also by working in an incorrect way, that actually profit is leaking away. If you look at profitability leaking away, where do you see that the most? What is the reason why dealers have big actually, I think, let me elaborate on that question. I was speaking to a dealer group in the Netherlands, customer of ours, and I asked them some questions like, okay, how many new cars do you sell this year? How many used cars do you sell this year? How many workshop passages do you have this year? And I think they sell about 10,000 cars. They have a lot of workshop passages. I think I need to look at the number, but it's thousands of cars coming through every month. And then then my theory is, okay, they have enough volume actually. It's not about more. But if you then ask, okay, what is your profitability? The answer indeed was zero.
Yeah.
Zero profitability. Why is that?
There are, of course, multiple answers to this question. But let me summarize it how I see it, or how I experienced it over the last couple of years. About 5 to 10 years ago, most of the reasons why a company was not profitable were mostly internal challenges. Inefficient network, a marketing team not up to speed, a fleet sales team that was not professionalized, the missing of a department. The different bits and pieces that you could solve, and through the growing of a lot of dealerships, obviously, a lot of these challenges are fixed. Not always for the better, but in most cases. But in the last 5 years, and that's the scary part of it all, most of the reasons now are from external threats. A very, very competitive labor market. So, like, how can you be profitable if you're missing 3 or 4 mechanics in your workshop? Biggest reasons. The entering of new Chinese products for whole different prices. So the whole pricing model is under a lot of pressure. Tariffs. The dependency of big platforms. Like in Holland, it's not even that. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. But the impact of a big platform in different countries than just Holland is immense. So just look at the price of a average lead now compared to 5 years ago. What is it? Doubled, tripled, at least. So you need way more investments for smaller margins, paying more for good employees, and it's not just problems that you can solve within your own company. So there's a challenge way bigger than ourselves.
But it's so what it comes down to, if I hear you correctly, is that actually compared to a few years ago, the margins are lower because of new entrants to the market, because of agency model, because of electrification as well. But the costs are increasing.
Exactly.
Employees are more expensive. You have more costs for the classified websites as well. That's more expensive than a few years ago. So if you, that's a mismatch.
Absolutely.
So also you mentioned inefficiency. What I see also is that dealers invest a lot actually in inefficiency. They invest a lot in their most expensive channel is still, of course, their team, which is very important. But it's also the highest cost next to your showrooms that you have. But if you look at that, how does it look like in practice? Do you believe that the investments in people that we have today are too high, or that they are allocated incorrectly?
Yeah, that's a good question. I learned that about 85% of a dealer's costs are just 2 things: stock and people. And for now, that's also what made it very hard to enter our market, because you needed a lot of assets to play the game, right? And it was also really, really hard to, it still is, like, the more stock you have, the more you sell. Like, still a lot of import companies are still just like pushing on selling stock over build to order. But now, due to AI, there's a whole new age coming where we need to create a new sort of vision towards what we want to be as a company, and where do we stand towards our relationship towards AI and towards our relationship towards our people. Yes, I am absolutely sure that jobs are going to disappear within the next couple of years. And you already see it happen. And it will go way further than we have experienced in these last 15 years, where we said that everything would change through online. We said we would sell cars through Bitcoin. We would create blockchain customer sites. We would sell in the metaverse. I don't know what, all of these things, there are a little bit there, but it's not like the big change there is. But now with AI, there's something else at play.
Yeah. So you feel that did you have the feeling as well with those other technology shifts that you saw the possibilities at that time as well, or do you feel there is a difference with all the things that you've seen and now the rise of AI?
For myself, I learned that it's really, really, really important, and that's what I do to all my customers. I teach them what developments there are and what you could invest in.
Mm-hmm.
But to everything that you can accomplish, there's always a downside. And it started at the beginning of my career in the automotive industry. I got my job through an internship where my one of the questions was that I needed to answer, Bart, what is Facebook and what do we need to do with it? And
okay,
so I got my job through the uprising of social media, but I absolutely hate social media. It's the biggest virus in a whole society. So in all my teachings and all my presentations, I am telling what like new developments are coming and what's the backside of it. I warned every company that I spoke in the last few years over this dependency on platform business models over pipeline business models as the automotive still is.
Hey, before we hop back into this conversation with Martin, imagine an AI communication layer seamlessly connected to your dealership systems. One intelligent platform that gives both your customers and your team instant access to the right information at the right time. Well, that's NovaCo, short for the Nova Company. At its heart is Nova, the AI model behind it all, inspired by the Nova Star. Bright when needed, invisible when not, just like a good assistant. On your website, Nova appears as the orb, a glowing, breathing chat bubble that invites customers to ask anything, anytime. But Nova is more than a website assistant. You see, with Nova Companion, she supports your team internally, answering questions using brochures, price lists, stock data, and more. Just instant answers for your team, saving them time and helping them focus on the customer. And with Nova Messaging, she connects with customers on WhatsApp and other channels, managing service updates, follow-ups, and appointment reminders, all in one professional flow. It's pretty cool. And yes, Nova Voice is coming soon, bringing the same intelligence to your phone system and completing the omni-channel experience. You see, customer communication is evolving, but with NovaCo, you're not just adapting, you're setting the pace. Find out more at novaco.ai, that's novaco.ai, and experience what's next. All right, let's get back to Martin.
You talk about AI a lot, and I think you also even give AI workshops.
Yeah.
If you look at AI, what is then the most common misunderstanding that you encounter?
That AI is a tool.
Yeah.
And AI is so much more than a tool. It's a new form of intelligence that's given to us that we need to build a relationship to, that we need to raise up as being a kid, instead of just using ChatGPT to write you an email, to write you a new advertising text for your online stock. It's so much more.
But where is it more? So which dealership processes are most suitable for AI adoption and which should remain human-led? Because there's a difference. When I speak to some dealer groups, definitely the management who have been there a long time, they say, our unique aspect is personal contact. That's what I hear everywhere. That's what makes us unique. No, it's not unique. Everybody says that. Yeah. But we are romanticizing the reality, because the reality is, call your own dealerships as a customer. You'll actually be shocked, because very often you're not getting the right person on the phone. If you get somebody on the phone, they will say, "Oh, I'm not the right person. I'll let somebody call you back." So we're romanticizing that, in my view. And where I believe that AI, is of course a massive opportunity here to make something super personal. But if, my question is indeed, if you look at the dealership processes and you know the dealerships very well, which ones would then be most suitable for AI?
It's that's a beautiful start. I hear so many dealerships say that the most important thing is employee satisfaction over customer satisfaction. Even though if I ask, I know that every dealership is measuring customer satisfaction every day, but I still need the first dealership that is measuring employee satisfaction every day. There is none.
Yeah.
In my opinion, there is none. So if personal contact would be that important to you, why are we still not not doing anything without purpose, not still being so short-sighted? That's where we started off. Now, what I think that what a very good start is not to start with the question, what should we do with AI? That has been the most heard question I heard in the last year. And it resulted in an experimental phase for almost every company. Experimenting in different tools, experimenting with different large language models. And now a dealership has become a little bit like how I run my own personal AI tools. I have like 15 different monthly plans paying all different tools, and I only use 2 or 3. And that's actually the same that I see happening now in a lot of companies, you know.
The dealers take too many subscriptions on different tools.
Exactly.
And they hardly use them.
Exactly. And they use them. We do AI, but doing AI, that's exactly the thing that will keep you in this experimental phase. How do you really make it a base that you can build on? So I start with the question, what is the first thing? Question 1, what are the continuous repetitive tasks in our company? Number 2, what can we automate first? And start from there. Even it's the smallest thing. If a company needs to fill in 4 times that a customer wants winter tires, then that's an interesting start to help them to create a flow, and that will be very, very suitable for, I think, a lot of people are gonna hate me for this, but for people are working in finance, people are working in administration, people are working in these internal teams that are creating offers, etc. So much to be automated. If you could start there first, you may be having smaller teams, but then with a couple of agents around them, creating another route to profitability. But you need to take care of the humans that are still working for you and want to do this job and want to work together with these agents instead of creating this completely automated machine where needed. So there everything comes together again. I also believe it to be true for online content creation. How much longer do you need to like a lot of these configuration pictures, of course, that are expected in the stock of a dealership. How much longer do you wait that it's still a configuration out of the car configurator instead of already being transferred to something that looks like a perfect picture, even though the car isn't there at your dealer yet? I think these sort of changes will happen very fast.
No, but I agree. I think you need to amplify your the employees that you have. and by even taking repetitive, boring stuff out of their hands, they would love you for it. Because
Exactly.
actually, I'm also a commercial guy. I like selling. I think that it's great to be in contact with customers and speaking to customers and helping them with the issues that they have. But I personally also don't like administration. So when you then afterwards need to go to your CRM and you need to write the meeting minutes, and then you need to write the action items that come out of it, and I personally really don't like it. But there are some people who really like that. They like administration. They like being behind the computer. But it's a different type of human being, because those human beings, they actually perhaps prefer not to speak to people. They just want to be behind the computer and write and be structured. And I think that very often we expect things from people who are not really strong at that, but who are very strong at the human touch. So where I also use things is like, for example, with meeting minutes, I've got an AI note taker listening in. You've got afterwards the meeting minutes automated within a few seconds, actually, after a meeting is finished. And there's action items coming out of it. Martin is supposed to do this and the customer is supposed to do that. Fantastic. That saved me so much time. And actually, it makes me better, because if I would have done it manually, definitely I would have forgotten something. So that's just a way to amplify a human being, and
Absolutely.
also to make them better at their job in human contact. So it makes the personal contact of a dealership even higher, and you increase your revenue per employee.
That's exactly it. That's those companies that are saying no, but we're all about personal contact. We're not going to invest in AI because we will always be personal. No, it's not up to you. It's up to the customer. They will use different LLMs to find their perfect car, and maybe they will end at your dealership. And then the personal connection is most important. So how many car brands are there that are mostly selling build to order, have like 30, 40, 50 minutes per customer needed to do all the administration, to fill in everything that the customer wants. So if you have like 1 hour or 1 hour and 15 minutes with a customer, and you spend 50 minutes of it behind your computer just typing in whatever they need, that's not personal contact. There is so much room, and that is, I think, then we come back to former subjects. A marketing department is not only focused on leads, but also on experience, creating these moments of personal contact, genuine personal contact, and taking away all these administrative tasks.
So with Pala Group, we also work together. You started with Nova Web, the AI assistant on the website of the BMW dealerships of the Pala Group. And you're now also expanding that to WhatsApp and to internal teams to have AI as well. Why did that sequence make sense? Why did you start with website and then you want to evolve?
For myself, I am trying to find an integral approach over different teams and different departments in a company like that. Mm-hmm. And I genuinely believe in not just using the tool or buying or subscribing to a tool like Nova Web, but creating a way to train an intelligence that all different channels are able to use. Now what we will have is if you continue on just the tool path, you will have Nova Web, and then perhaps another tool that will create your online content for your website, and then perhaps another tool that will automatically update specifications of a car. So you have like all different small bits of intelligence everywhere, which is not helping to train this one intelligence that could help the marketing department, but also every other company. The AI is not just a marketing thing; it's on all levels, and that's why for me, it was a very easy decision to look at the different steps that the Overgo was offering, and to see what we could create with the different services she offer.
Yeah, because I think it's true that when I look at, I'm also quite some years active in automotive retail, and what I see is a very much siloed software base. So you have an inventory management tool, DMS, sometimes even a separate lead management system, because the DMS doesn't provide that.
Exactly.
But the lead management system is not connected to the inventory, so it's separate. Then you have a workshop scheduler, which is separate. Then you have very often even a digital work order tool, which is again separate. And then you see that different tools are saying, okay, let's do something with AI, and let's do something. But then you remain siloed.
Yes.
So and to have an overarching layer that connects the dots and connects with everything, and then is available on multiple channels, not only the website, but WhatsApp and even the phone system, that you train once, that is connected to all the right data. That's the superpower that you would get.
Exactly. That's exactly my.
Yeah, but when you went live with AI, what were you most surprised about when you saw it working?
To be honest, I expected way more criticism after the go.
Mm-hmm.
We even created a way that we could handle all the questions coming from the different parts of a company, to take these questions to answer or to start training the AI. But the basics were really, really good. I think we got like 3 or 4 questions, and not out of disinterest or something. Not at all. It was, it just started working automatically, and people started to have conversations, even though they knew that they were talking to a AI bot. And that was beautiful. It was funny to read what people ask.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you sometimes have very funny conversations. I had actually 2 things. Like a few weeks ago, one of our customers said that they had a little bit of an embarrassing situation, but somebody walked in with a box of chocolates to actually give to the employee that they had a chat with, and then they needed to explain that it's actually not a real employee, that it's AI, and that we would give the chocolates, that the dealer would give the chocolates to the team. But the customer also thought, it was not a person that I spoke to. No, he says, I thought it was so good. So that was one thing. And yesterday I received an email from one of our dealers, and they said, Martin, can you please have a look at this conversation, because perhaps you need to at a certain moment just stop a conversation. Yeah. And I thought, what does he mean? It actually was a conversation of an hour and a half. Somebody kept on talking for an hour and a half, and he had a complaint. And the complaint is now sent to the dealer, because but of course it took 1 hour and a half before we could send it, because the customer kept on talking. But if you read it through, then I think that's incredible. And also the customer was writing like, I'm now finally being heard. And now you react to me in the right way that I want you to react, because I'm so angry at this dealership. And then you read it through and you think, whoa, this is actually incredible. And I think, that 1 and a half, I think it's the longest conversation I ever saw in our platform. But it shows that it works, and that if you want to do this as a human being, you will not be this patient. And this is actually costing the dealer a lot of money if you do this. That's also something that was quite funny.
I have a knowledge of an AI app that automatically prints like complete conversations. So if you have one extremely long WhatsApp conversation with someone, you can it contracts the WhatsApp conversation and it prints it as a book, as a gift. Maybe you could print this one as
good idea.
The ultimate first conversation.
Absolutely, good idea. No, but it's funny, and I think that it's interesting to see. We also believe that by doing this and having it available on multiple channels and being not only reactive, because the website assistant is of course always reactive, it's there waiting to be used. But if you switch from reactive to proactive, you reach out to WhatsApp for an MOT, you reach out for a service appointment, you train the AI that you, for example, with an MOT, that you'll always try to book a service appointment. Not only an MOT, that when you book certain work to a car, like the shock absorbers, that you always need to do the outlining of the car as well. Because very often humans forget it. They just book, and they forget certain work that also needs to be done so that the car needs to come back. It's just also inefficient. Having the AI to get the knowledge of all the diagnostics that the different mechanics have done. So to much quicker do a diagnostic when the same problem appears again. So this is just when you this is the right use of data. And that's the opportunity that we have here as well, that we have so much data there where the AI can recognize patterns, recognize things, and makes the dealer, that makes the world of difference. Look at warranty claims. If you have searched for 3 hours for a problem, bad luck. Those 3 hours will not be compensated.
Yes.
You need to know much quicker what is the problem and just fix that. And it's do that once per, hopefully day, but even once per week. It's already a huge difference for a dealer if you do it right.
This is a beautiful example of that we can't start with just AI tools on such a split up IT landscape and all these little sources of data that you need to combine to create, to train this sort of intelligence. It's so cool to AI is absolutely not being done by a holding or central department on the top of some company. It's if you ask the people that are actually working with the systems, that are actually really in contact with the customers and have the phone calls, ask them what their job would be like a little bit easier if some small things would be automated. And then you see like all the little connections that could be built. I think the gold is in the detail in this case. And we need to be in far more contact to what's happening in every local store to understand where we need to start training the intelligence as you said, as like one holistic approach.
Yeah, exactly. So if we look ahead, for example, we look 5 years ahead, what will successful dealer groups be doing fundamentally differently compared to unsuccessful ones?
Number one, develop a vision to where they want to be at, what they want to accomplish as a dealership. Create a long-term vision without trying to create a AI route for longer than 2-3 years, because no one will know where we'll be in 2 or 3. I don't believe in anyone who's so convinced that they will know what investments they need to take on AI for after 2026. Then extremely important is let the salesman become salesman again. So take away all the extra effort, just what we spoke about. And to all the staff teams, focus on what is that what we really need between a human and an AI. Yes, jobs will disappear, but I believe as well, to give answer to most of the companies that are saying that personal contact is so important. Yes, the relationship between a salesman and a customer will be way more important than years before. the companies that are selling more, back to my theory, that are selling more through relationships than through leads, will have a much easier way of finding their route with AI than the companies just focus on leads, because they don't have that much sustainable data that they can build on, and that they can cope human and AI to create new profit. Eventually, the amount of people working for a dealership will probably be smaller, but will be more intelligent thanks to AI.
So, what happens to dealers who do not change, who continue running their dealership as they do today?
Could be, well, let's just talk about the Dutch dealers for now, because there's an interesting step here that one of the big platforms, AutoScout. I can imagine a lead being way more expensive within the next 3 years over several platforms.
Yeah.
So if you are just using AI to continue the path that you're going on, just okay, get me more leads, get me more sales. AI help me to convert easier. AI help me to do a better follow up. Whatever. You will be easier replaced because you take all the emotion out of the company and out of the experience. Where the experience of buying a car, it's not just, hey, I want to drive a Mercedes or I want to drive an Audi. It's the whole experience that I'm buying. It's the whole connection that I have with a company, with a sales advisor. We need to start focusing on this human aspect. And if you keep continuing on just automating, being a lead, well, there will be a platform that can do for you way easier, way cheaper, and you will be narrow and more the victim, and being more and more dependence of the external factors, as you mentioned questions before.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Actually, when you were explaining it, it made me think a bit about Mark Weg of Porsche Gelderland. Mark is somebody who built an amazing Porsche dealership in the Netherlands. And with the classic car department, he's even got his own museum with all kinds of beautiful cars. It's really great. And one thing that he says, he's very straightforward when he explains something. And one thing that he was explaining is, if I have a salesman or woman, what is their job? Their job is to sell cars.
Exactly.
And that's what they should do. They should sell cars. That's what I hired them for. And I take everything away. I strip it all away. All the other things that are not selling cars, I take it away, because people love having an excuse when they have not sold cars. They would say, yeah, but I needed to do administration, or I needed to fill in the CRM, you asked me to, or I needed to move some cars because there were some cars here. So I've not been able to sell. And if you strip away all those tasks, you don't need to move the car. Somebody else will do it. You don't need to do the administration. Somebody else will also do that. You need to sell cars. And I think actually that mindset is the right one for all roles within your organization.
Absolutely.
What does a receptionist need to do? Strip away all the unnecessary things from them. If you're a salesperson who doesn't like administration, who likes talking to people and welcoming people, strip away all the other things. And stripping away, the good news is that the AI functionalities that you are now launching is actually focused on those things that people don't like.
Yes.
And by doing that, you strip away the unnecessary work, enabling them to do their work better and with a higher personal feeling for the dealership customer as well. So it's very interesting to see, and indeed asking to look 5 years ahead is perhaps a crazy question, because who can do that? I think let's see the next 2 years and then talk again.
This exactly should have been my answer. This is exactly it. And the thing that I often hear yeah, but it's Porsche, and we are Skoda, or we are Toyota, or we are. The Porsche dealership has a higher dealer profitability, so they can do more investments. It's not true.
Mm-hmm.
People are working for Mark Weg are selling more Porsches than an average Skoda or Toyota seller is doing.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, and it's and this vision is so powerful. But yet many people just say, "But I've got this employee, and why didn't you do your administration? Why is the lead not follow up quick enough? Why didn't you do? Why are these cars not moved? I don't like the way they're." Take it away, yeah, it's interesting. But if dealers take just one insight from this conversation, what should it be?
I think the last 5 years has shown that a couple of dealers who have created more personal vision, like Mark Weg is a perfect example, and there are a few others. The companies that have had more like a specific vision on how they wanted to create their company became more successful. Now, with AI, a new game has started. Now we need to reshuffle our cards and see how we can create our own vision from it. And things will fail, but please accept failure. Please accept that the AI that you will install right away will not be specifically what is needed, but accept it and train it as it is, like it's a child, and you need to help it grow. That is, I think, extremely important. And secondly, as how we started, through that vision, what is everyone's purpose to be part of your vision? Why to be a part of the route that you're entering, instead of me being in fear of losing my job because maybe place me for an AI within a couple of years.
True. Yeah. So I agree with what you said with the how I sometimes explain it is like look at the AI as one of your employees, and even more employees, because it can handle multiple roles. And if an employee starts, are they doing 100% the right things from day one?
Yes.
No. You also explain them how your company works, how systems work, what is possible at your dealership, what is not possible. Sometimes you hear a conversation and afterwards you say, actually, next time you should have done that, and you might need to repeat it a couple of times. That's the same with AI. It comes and works for you, and it really works for you, but also needs guidance, also needs some steering now and then, and say, okay, but the good thing is that normally when you then tell it once, it will do it from then on in the right way. But it takes some time. So when you can, of course, before you go live, I see that many dealers, they sometimes go a bit far with the testing, and they test all kinds of edge cases before they go live, and they test things that we don't see that people actually do on a production site. But it's good, test it and find edge cases, and then we can still make it work in a right way. But you go live at a certain level, no matter which level you have, after a few months, the level is higher. Because the AI has progressed, but of course also because you have steered and you've adjusted, and just like you have done with an employee. So treat the AI indeed as a human being, and who also needs to learn your organization.
And there specifically for Dutch companies listening, my family-in-law is Irish. And yesterday I learned that in the UK, a kid gets a result from its test and heard 7 answers were correct. In Holland, we say you made 3 mistakes. And that is most of my trainings and my speeches now are not as specifically about how to implement AI or what sort of AI tool do you need to buy. That's irrelevant. For the most important thing is the growth of consciousness and awareness around AI. And this specifically is, if we keep on focusing on these 2 or 3 bits that it's doing wrong, we will not succeed. focus on the 7
Yes.
things that are going right. And that's exactly what I meant with the allowance to fail. It's extremely important now in this phase to get out from the experimental phase into a more integrated fundament.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing your insights and knowledge. So it's been very good to talk to you. But if listeners are interested and want to learn more and be in contact with you, what is the best way for them to get in touch?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm the marketer who doesn't do a lot of marketing, so I don't have a lot of social media.
No.
Contact me on LinkedIn.
Yes, LinkedIn is more. You accept that social media channel.
Yeah, absolutely. I still need to.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Well, perfect. So Bart Pellis, it's Pellis.
Yes.
And so I'll let people reach out there. And it was a pleasure having you here. And it's now just before Christmas. I don't know if we will launch the podcast episode before Christmas. It might be in the new year. We'll see. But anyhow, I wish you a Feliz Navidad.
Muchas gracias.
And with pleasure. That's as far as my Spanish goes. And thank you for being a guest. And wish you already a great new year.
Maarten, Feliz Navidad.
Gracias. Bye.